Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing your Walking Dead daily Q&A video for today. In this one, we're going to start off by discussing whether or not we think that viewers are becoming more desensitized to character deaths. And so this one was inspired by a question from Connor, who says, I love The Walking Dead, but by season 12, I think it's just going to be stale. So I thought about this one because the mid-season finale, we had some pretty big deaths there, with hearts still beating. But I did really want to touch on this one because I think it's been a kind of overarching trend that we've seen throughout the show, which is, if you look at the beginning of The Walking Dead, so you go back to the start, pretty much every time there's a character death, it was a huge deal. You know, when we see Shane get killed off in the series, it was just a colossal death. It was humongous. When we saw Dale get killed off, it was huge in terms of the emotional response. I remember being like crazy sad when he gets gutted. Not the same when Spencer gets gutted. Now, you know, or some of the later characters. And I really do feel like we have some sensory adaptation going on here. Maybe kind of some kind of software version of it. So you go through the series, you see more and more characters be killed off. And after a while, it's kind of like, it's commonplace, right? It's not like such a huge deal when you see, the Andersons in No Way Out get killed off. Well, it was a pretty big deal still, compared to when Laurie was killed off earlier on. I just feel like if you look through the series, it always gets some kind of emotional response, I want to say. But I've noticed over the seasons, I think it's gotten a little less, because you just get used to it. You're like, okay, it's a mid-season finale. Yeah, they're going to kill somebody off. Who's it going to be? Well, it's going to be this person. And then Spencer gets gutted and, his guts fall out. And everyone's like, it should be this crazy, shocking scene where everybody's like, oh my God, and people are just like, going nuts everywhere and just craziness. But in reality, like, from what I saw after the mid-season finale and Olivia getting shot too, it's like it did elicit a response. But it's kind of like, it's The Walking Dead. It's The Walking Dead. It's what it is. It's just it's become very commonplace. It's become very usual to see characters getting smoked, to see characters getting gutted or just shot point blank out of nowhere. It really has changed over the seasons, I think. And the longer we go, I think they're going to have to try even harder, and they're going to have to do even more each time to get the same kind of response out of the viewers as they used to get when they just kill off like one character or maybe two in an episode. Now they're going to have to do some crazy shit. Like if you look at the season 7 premiere, which got an incredible emotional response from everybody, they had the brutality. They made us wait the whole summer. And then they had, the brutality of it. They had the eye pop, and they had all this other stuff happen. But still at the same time, I feel like people are like, yeah, but it's Walking Dead. We're kind of used to that now. It's like if you ever work in retail during the holidays, if you guys just gone shopping in the last month, and you hear the Christmas music, after a little while you stop hearing the damn Christmas music because after a number of hours, it's just like you don't even notice it, right? So that's it occurs. It definitely does, and I think with regards to the show too. People have just gotten more used to it. They've gotten more used to understanding that, characters are going to get killed off, and they're going to have to do more to get the audience emotionally invested in the future. And for character deaths to still be a big deal, they're going to have to work pretty hard at creating that emotional tether between the viewer, the fan, the audience, and certain characters before they kill them off. So I think they're doing a good job. I don't think it's a knock against anybody involved with the Walking Dead TV series and production or anything. But I think if you look at the comics too, even Kirkman, he kind of kills more characters to get the same kind of response. To get the same response in the comic book series as when the governor cuts Rick's hand off, he kills like a dozen people later. And it's like equivalent. It's like, okay, it's pretty much the same response to see Rick get his hand cut off as it is to see 12 characters, a dozen characters being killed. And so that's kind of funny. So you guys can write your comments below. Did you feel like the deaths earlier on in the series were more impactful to you as a viewer than they are now, and they're just kind of more commonplace now, and they have a sting to it, but they don't have as much of like a crazy type of response from you, because you know that it's going to happen. You know that it's like normal to see characters being killed off. So write your comments below, guys. And just to respond to Connor, I don't think it will get stale by season 12 with what they're doing currently, which is where they're really changing things up a lot, and you don't have a lot of retreading of old ground. You're always going to have the group, walking around in the forest sometimes, or you're always going to have them going on runs. You're always going to have them trying to survive and worrying about resources and stuff like that. You're always going to have drama, and zombies are probably always going to be there. But at the same time, I think they've done a good job, and if you look at the comic book series from this point onwards, Kirkman's done a really good job of really mixing it up, upping the ante, and bringing in some interesting villains like Negan, like the Whispers, and we'll see after that. We have no idea what's going to happen next, but I think he's done a really good job of just expanding everything, keeping it original, bringing in a lot of new characters, so it doesn't feel too stale, so that it does feel fresh. Even though the first half season of season 7 was a bit slow, but that's because they're building all these different communities, and that's part of that change too, right? Is that they're adding on a lot of stuff. So it doesn't feel the same as it did in season 2, where you just have like a group of maybe a dozen survivors or so trying to survive against zombies. It's really changed it up season to season. At least I think. But you guys can write your comments below. Let me know if you think that the show's getting more stale as time goes on too. Herb Coswell says, Q&A, Trev, if Negan lives past all-out war, do you think they will give Negan a redemption arc and make him the good guy after whichever season all-out war ends? So I don't want to get too much into comic book spoilers here, but it's my my opinion, based on the reviews I do with you guys and critiquing and analysis. It looks to me like Kirkman, I don't think originally he understood how big Negan was going to be. It's always hard to have, foresight of how people are going to respond to a character like Negan. As time went on, I think he realized how many fans Negan has. And so with the comic book series, he decided to do some things differently with him. Rather than having him be like a governor-type villain, Negan is so charismatic that I think he decided at a point, you know what, maybe I won't just make him simply a brutal psycho. Maybe there's more to it than that. Maybe the saviors are very hard to control. Maybe the saviors are just itching and looking for a chance to up each other, or dominate another group, or do things like this. And to keep them in line, Negan has to resort to brutality, fear, and just really show dominance in that way in order to keep everybody in line. And part of that has to do with his strategy, which is to dominate other groups, right? And keep them under his thumb and make them work for him. He does that through dominance. Otherwise, I'm not sure if you'd be able to keep people in line just, being nice to everybody. You'd have groups probably hiding stuff from you. You'd have groups not giving their part, or groups trying to kill you any chance they get, which we've also seen with Rick's group anyway. So, I think he is going to try to redeem Negan. In the TV series version, we'll have to see how many seasons JDM wants to stay on for. I'm hoping he'll want to stay on for at least 3, 4, 5 seasons, and we can see some redemption for Negan. We can see the fans kind of warm up to him even more over the seasons, even though he did kill Glenn and Abraham. So we'll have to see how crowds respond and how everybody responds to what they do with Negan in the television series version. But based on the comic version, yeah, absolutely. I think he realized how popular Negan is, and then the TV series they know, so they're doing stuff like selling, Lucille prop replica bats and Negan figures and all this stuff, because he is really popular. Jordan Maclin says, hey Trev, why do you think they decided to keep Carol longer on the show? What does this mean for her character now that she has outlived her comic counterpart? So for Carol, I've watched a lot of the behind the scenes interviews and stuff, and I believe it was Laurie's actress, Sarah Wayne Callies, who talked them into keeping Carol alive. At least her and Melissa McBride, probably the combination of them both. And they were probably like, wow, that actually sounds really good. Let's do that. Because she was supposed to be killed off when T-Dog was killed off, and they switched it. They decided, all right, let's kill T-Dog. Let's make Carol a super badass, really strong woman, really strong female, even though she's lost everything. So I'm glad they decided to do that. I do miss seeing T-Dog, but I'm glad that they decided to give Carol, kind of a heroic story rather than kind of a victim type of story where she's a victim of the world and she just loses her sense to live. They're kind of getting into that a little bit now, but I feel like they're going to come back from that later, and she's going to become a badass again. I would like to think. So why did they decide to do that? I think it's just the pitch was really good. I think they talked them into it. And season 3, there was a lot of switching and a lot of things going on. And it was kind of from what I've read anyway in interviews and that, it was kind of a disaster. They ran out of writing for a while. They ran out of the script for a while. They caught up to it. They had burned through too much content too fast. And there was all kinds of problems in season 3 with regards to pacing and them going through it too quickly. So even though it was a really exciting season, it was a lot of fun, I guess, from a production standpoint. It was a pretty tough season. As a result, luckily, we got Carol, who got to live. So there were some good things that came from it, but there was also some bad because you had characters like Andrea that were killed off, in the season 3 finale. Next one would be from Dwight. He says, "Hey, Trev, I was just wondering if you plan on doing a character spotlight on Spencer." We'll make this the last one for this video. Unlike Glenn and Abraham, he may not deserve an entire video dedicated to him, but maybe in a Q&A, you can just briefly give your final thoughts on the character. I thought he was a pretty big character death, and I'd like to hear what you think of him now that he's dead. Thanks, and keep out the great videos coming throughout the break, my friend. So thank you, Dwight, or whoever you are who names your YouTube name Dwight, who also has a picture of Dwight in his YouTube profile. So this is part of why I decided to do the Desensitized, as the main video topic for this video, because I didn't feel much when Spencer was killed off. Maybe it's because, I've read the comic book series a number of times, probably like 4 or 5 times through that part. Maybe it's because, it's easy to hate Spencer because he kind of turns on Rick and stuff. You can sympathize and understand with him why he did that, though. Because from his perspective, after Rick showed up, everything went to hell. So, yeah, you can understand that and him kind of holding that against him because of losing pretty much everybody. And the Alexandrians as well. There's some survivors still from Alexandria, but compared to what there was before Rick and the group got there, there's not many that were kind of prominent members of that group. Most of the prominent members of that group have been killed. There's a few remaining characters like Tobin and Aaron and Eric, some of the others, but they've been downsized quite a bit compared to what they were at when Rick and the others got there. So you can sympathize with Spencer. You can definitely understand with Spencer. I don't know, man. I didn't really care. Like, again, the desensitization thing. Maybe you did. Maybe you emotionally felt a connection to Spencer, and that's a good thing to hear that. I just didn't care. Like, when they killed Spencer off, I was like, oh, that's exciting, that's crazy, whatever. Whatever. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me. Why haven't I done a character spotlight on him? That's why. Because I don't care too much. It's kind of like, yeah, I know he's going to get killed. Yeah, he got gutted. Yeah, it was a crazy death and everything. And it wasn't, I wasn't even really that sad after it, to be honest, either. I was like, I don't know. This is what is Walking Dead. It's what it is, right? So, but as a character, am I going to miss seeing Spencer in the series? No, not really. No, I mean, especially not if you compare some of the earlier deaths like you had. Even Olivia, I probably miss more than Spencer, to be honest. Abraham's death, Glenn's death, those still are more top of mind for me than Spencer's death. So, I don't know, maybe the season 7 premiere was so traumatic, because, again, you could go the other way, too. You could say the longer we spend with characters, the more impactful their deaths are when they're killed off. So, yeah, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. Maybe it's totally subjective depending on the viewer. But, I didn't care when Spencer was killed. So I'm happy that you did, though, and that it was a big deal for you. But no, I won't be doing a character spotlight on him. This is pretty much it. Whatever. Spencer's killed off. Whatever. If you guys like this video today, please thumb it up below. You can also share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe. That's it for this one today. I'll see you guys again soon. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. I'll see you soon.